Hello and welcome to Step Outside. I'm your host, Pete Curé. On our last show, we started building a backyard pool. We're doing the whole project from start to finish. The excavation work has been done, piping has been laid, and most of the plumbing installed. The pool was fitted with rebar, and concrete was shot and shaped to create the pool's foundation. We also started some work around the exterior of the pool, including the construction of an entertainment area that features a bar, barbecue, and fireplace. Today, we'll take up where we left off. We'll be installing a solar heating and misting system, finishing up a water feature we started last time, and laying custom flagstone decking throughout the project. Well, the crew's out back, and I'm sure they're ready to get started. So we'll get right to work right after this short break. Stay tuned. Well, we've got an awful lot of work going on in our backyard project here today. But one of the things that we're doing right now is installing a solar system. We've torn the old patio roof off the house because we're actually going to put a new one on that extends all the way across the south face here, which will help to shade the house. But we're going to take advantage of that big roof now and install a solar system. And I have with me here Michael Chung of Helicola of Arizona, and they're the company that's going to install it. Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about your product here?
Okay, these are solar panel collectors. We have the terracotta, which matches terracotta tile roofs. And then in this particular installation, we're going to use our black panels.
Okay.
These will be hidden because they'll just be flat like this.
Now this goes up on the roof, and these come in 4-foot long segments. And this one is going to have what, 10 and a half? 10 and a half foot long, and they just kind of snap together.
They all snap together like a Lego set.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much heat gain can they expect to get from this?
Well, usually what we do is we size the panel size to the same square footage about the surface area of the pool, and they will usually pick up 15 to 30 degrees, you know, from where the temperature of the pool goes up during the spring and fall season, so that more than doubles their swim season. And this will also be able to heat the spa here this time of the year, no problem, 104 degrees.
Now I know that this probably is going to add about $3,000, $3,500 cost to our job, but the state is giving an environmental tax credit back on
They're
this.
giving a 25% tax credit, up to a $1,000 rebate for the homeowner filed at the end of the year on their tax return.
And we've installed a gas heater on this job, which will do the job when the solar can't quite keep up with the colder times of the year and at night. But in essence, by using the solar, it'll probably pay for itself in 2 years or less here.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Now, you're going to run some pipes in the hole we've cut in the wall to get the pipes down and over to our equipment, so we won't be seeing those come down our patio
Right, they'll
roof.
be completely hidden.
And that's a Schedule 80 pipe you're putting in there.
Schedule 80.
Okay. And in addition, you have run a copper tube in this hole because you're also going to install a mist system, aren't you?
Yes, we're going to install a high-pressure misting system.
Now, a lot of people are probably familiar with the ones they can go to the home improvement stores and pick up a simple one. They do it themselves and hook up to a hose bib, but this is a little bit different than that, isn't it?
It's very different. It has a ability to cool 20 to 30 degrees during the day in the summer. So if you got 110 degree temperature outside, this patio area with the misting working will be more like 80
And it has a compressor, so it's very high pressure.
Yes, it's 800.
These nozzles don't clog like the ones that a lot of people are familiar with. And one more bonus that you've done here is you're going to run that same misting system over to our water feature, correct?
Water feature, yes.
Okay, and that's going to give us a little fog system.
That's going to be same system, but it'll be zoned here with 3 valves. And so if they want to run the fog effects where it tumbles fog down into the water, or for the barbecue here, cool there, as well as fog the spa, the system will have the capability.
Boy, there's going to be a lot of neat things going on in this backyard.
It's going to be beautiful, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you a lot for your time. We'll let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.
The patio and pool deck area in this backyard are being topped off with flagstone. The installation technique they're using on this job takes a bit of craftsmanship to get it right. This is Ray from Stone World, and his company is installing our flagstone decks here. And as you can see, they've laid all the flagstone out dry, cut and fit every piece so that they can get a good fit and all their grout joints are consistent. Now, Ray, I've seen a lot of other flagstone jobs where guys have just kind of taken stuff right off the pallets and start to lay it, and they end up with grout joints that are this big down to non-existent, and they use tiny little pieces. But you guys aren't doing that here, are you?
That's the old way. Way we're doing it right now is with the diamond blades. We're going down on the floor and cutting every piece to fit together exactly like a big puzzle. And that's the only way you can narrow these grout joints to the 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. You know, to make a nice modern look of flagstone. Way they done it before is with just a chisel and a hammer, and they have to stay with the natural size of pieces actually. Only one thing, we create a lot of waste, lost probably 30% of the flagstone doing that way. And but that's the only good way to do it.
But you get a much nicer finished look. So after you've cut everything out and laid it out dry, then you actually start mixing some mortar up and put the pieces in.
You have to go piece by piece, lift it up. Normally you start from the one point, in this case right here, around the swimming pool. We start with a 3-inch thick stone.
I see you use really thick pieces there.
Coping, yes. Creating a nice feeling of the thickness of the stone. Everything behind is going to be just a regular thickness. They can go down to the 1-inch thick, but all you is going to see is the edge of the pool, and pretending to everything else is that kind of thickness.
Nice hammered chisel cut all the way around the edge gives us that good look, yeah. Yes. What color is this stone?
This is a regular Arizona flagstone. We call them a classic oak. Color, as you see right now, is covered with the dust and clay.
Yeah, I can see that here, all this dust on there.
But basically on the chips or the side of the stone, you can see exactly the color, what's going to be when we clean it and wash it, when everything is done over.
Well, it's going to be a really nice job. You got a lot of work left. We'll let you get back to it.
Okay,
Thanks a lot. When we return, we'll take a look at the final plumbing hookup and see how the installation of the tile along the edge of the pool is coming. We'll be right back. Well, our plumbers are all done installing our pool equipment, and I've got Brad Bergmark here, our pool superintendent, to explain a little bit about all this stuff. Brad, we've got a pump down here on the end. What's this for?
Well, that pump is a water feature pump, and that's going to serve two purposes. It pulls water from the pool, puts it into the water feature, or it puts it into a third swim jet that we have located in the pool for swimming.
That's a 2-horse pump. Now here's another 2-horse pump. What's this one for?
That's the therapy pump. That just pulls water from the pool, puts it right back into therapy jets to create the
in the spa. Action. So we've got 6 therapy jets in the spa, and that gives us that therapeutic action. Now this is a 3-horsepower pump.
Right.
And this one does what?
That's the main recirculation pump that filters the water and also runs the in-floor system.
You're going to use this pump, though, also for the other 2 swim jets. We've got three swim jets in this pool.
Right. That also is going to serve as 2 purposes, one for filtering, and then you turn a valve, and it'll run the 2 swim jets located in the side of the pool.
So the water comes out of the pool into this pump here, goes out of the pump into this filter.
Correct.
Now this is a diatomaceous earth filter.
Right.
Okay. Then it comes out of this filter, and it goes either into our solar heat, and that's what those 2 lines are there. They go up onto those pipes on the roof.
Right.
Or the gas heater that we have here behind you, right?
Right.
That's that big square unit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brad. Well, you've got a lot of plumbing here, but it sounds to me like you're asking these pumps to do a lot of different things. Like, do they have to come out here and manually turn this valve every time they want to use the swim jets?
Well, normally they would, but in this case we've installed what's called a Jandy Aqualink system with automatic actuators that do turn the valves automatically.
So this is a little motorized actuator. You'll take this handle off, this valve goes on here, and obviously the cord hooks to the controller.
To the electronics.
Now then, how do we control it? What's the control panel like?
Okay, this is a Aqualink in-house controller, and these are basically on-off switches, and you can do everything out here and also do everything inside the house, so the customer doesn't have to come out here in the night and switch valves and do everything. You turn on the heat, turn on the solar, program the system.
So that's like a little computer. You can program it to say, come on, 6 o'clock in the evening, the water feature while you're sitting there eating dinner, and listen to the sound of the water, and shut off at 11 at night when you go to bed.
Turn the lights on at 7, off at 10.
Turn the heat on to any temperature you want, and it gives you a little digital readout there.
Right.
Well, that's going to be
everything you want to know.
Pretty slick.
Yep.
Good. There's so much involved in the piping of a pool like this that it always feels great to have the plumbing part of the job done. The concrete work on the pool was done during the last show by the Shotcrete crew. It's had time to cure, and the tile setters have begun working on the perimeter tile installation. Perimeter tile, as the name implies, goes completely around the top of the pool at the water line. It's both attractive and functional. When choosing a tile for your pool, you actually have an opportunity to bring in a little bit of a color accent. So you might want to look at some of the colors that are going on inside your house or around your patio. Or you may want to choose a pool tile that has a watercolor to it, something like a blue or a gray or a green. But you do have to choose a tile that is meant to go around the pool. It can't just be any kind of tile. The tile has to be a ceramic that's glazed so it can handle the extremes in temperatures that occur outdoors, and obviously something that's easy to clean. In order to install the perimeter tile, we needed to float out the gunite all the way around the pool underneath the flagstone deck. This is Gustavo Lozano. He and his crew are setting the tile for our swimming pool here today. And Gustavo, you've got a pretty good detail here for this corner, don't you?
Yes, I'm just trying to make a better
Finish?
work, better finish. See, normally tile setters do this way, and I think my way is better.
You cut those tiles there with the Makita, so you got a nice corner, huh? Okay, and they
Now-
go on right here.
It's going right here.
And you've already marked your water line, so we know the top of the tile there.
Of course.
And you're going to butt those right up together so we get a nice corner on that. That's great. And then we just finish and put more tiles along. You've got the thin set on there. And you go along, and you're leaving me a grout joint on each tile there.
It's an egg. That's the normal joint for tile.
I can see now that this tile's going on, and you built the wall out, that we've left enough thickness for our pebble tech to flush right up to our tile finish here. Now we have one other problem though that we have to deal with. Because they put this really heavy, thick flagstone coping on, they had to use a big mud base, and underneath on the top of the skimmer, you can see that here, we've got about 2 inches to deal with. Normally that would just be a grout joint, but here we don't want to look at that much grout. So what we're going to do is go ahead and cut these tiles, the same tiles we're using, and fit them in all the way along the top edge there. Now, once the perimeter tile has all been laid and had a chance to set, we'll be able to get the PebbleTech crew in to finish off the interior of the pool. When we return, we'll take a look at the barbecue area and see how our water feature is shaping up. So stay tuned. We've got our fireplace built and our whole barbecue counter area here. This large opening is for the grill, and the smaller opening is for a side burner. And over here, we've got our stand-up bar. We put an umbrella sleeve in the center of it, so if it gets a little bit too sunny, you can pop an umbrella here and enjoy your drink in the shade. And on the top of the counter here, we're going to use this tumbled marble tile. It's going to go on the top and the face. We'll use the same tile over here on our barbecue. Well, our crew's been working on the water feature boulders. They've got all the spillways set. In fact, we only have one more boulder here to go. This is Dave Carob. He's been working on the water feature for us. And Dave, this boulder goes right in here?
Yeah, we've already pre-set it there dry, and we're just getting ready to set it permanently with
So you got some mortar that goes in here?
We're just using regular mortar. All we want to do is get a thick bed on it so it's cushioned when it sits in there. We're not concerned with it going out to the edges of the stone, because that will all be filled with something later.
All right, so we just want to get something so we can kind of mush it down into place,
Yeah,
huh?
just to make sure it doesn't slip.
That's good. Now, all of these other edges, what do you do with those?
That'll all be filled with granitecrete.
Granitecrete, huh? Well, let's go take a look and see what granitecrete is and how you mix it with it. Dave, you mentioned that you're going to top dress all the exposed surfaces of our water feature with granitecrete. And I see you've got a wheelbarrow mixed already. What went into this wheelbarrow?
Okay, this particular wheelbarrow has a full bucket of Portland cement.
This is the Portland cement here.
Right.
Okay. This is our decomposed granite. Now this is 1/2-inch screened material.
Right.
How many buckets of this are
We
in
had
there?
4 buckets of granite in the wheelbarrow.
4 buckets of that, and then just regular mortar sand, and how much of
A
that?
1/2 bucket of mortar sand, which gives you the 2-to-1 ratio for the cement that's needed in it.
Okay, but it's gray.
Right.
We want this to look like rock when we're done. So what do we got
Right.
here? Some liquid color.
Right.
Now
And this is liquid color. It's a Spanish brown. It's in a liquid consistency so that it'll mix a little easier as well.
Okay, so you're going to add that. Now you think maybe one of those is going to work, or
well,
we'll just mix it and see,
you
huh?
have to go by eye a little bit.
Okay, so go ahead and start mixing that. Now a little bit of that color is probably going to go a long
Right.
way though, right? Because that's
Right.
pretty dark, although we want a nice dark finish, so you're just going to keep mixing this, and if this is a
Right.
little bit more in tan in color instead of brown, we'll just add another half, maybe quarter of that color.
Right.
Okay, well I think that's going to work out great. When you're applying the granitecrete into some of the tight areas along the rocks, you've got to use a relatively small trowel and make sure you tuck it into all of the joints. When you're working in the larger bowl area of the water feature, however, you can actually put it on with a shovel, take a larger trowel, spread it out up and over the rim, round off the top edge. Once this is all set up and slightly dry, take a hose with a nozzle and spray it off so that you can expose the aggregate. When we last looked at the inside of our pool, it was a little plain. The perimeter tile was being installed, but the concrete walls were still showing. Since then, a coating of PebbleTech has been applied to the bare surfaces. PebbleTech has become a very popular finishing material for pools. It's durable and gives the interior of a pool a very natural look. This is Julie Dobbs of Pebble Technology. Julie, why don't you tell us a little bit about PebbleTech?
Thank you, Pete. PebbleTech was developed over 25 years ago in Australia, and the technology was brought to the United States in 1987. Since then, we've done thousands and thousands of pools and spas and water features with PebbleTech as the interior finish. As you mentioned, it's not only an extremely durable finish, it's a beautiful finish. It comes in a wide variety of colors, which you can see here on our sample board. We start with the lighter colors. We have a real natural color here. We have blue grays, and then we go down into the dark colors for lagoon pools and black bottom pools, which are very attractive.
Now, when people look at this, though, we really need to wet these samples to take a look, right?
You really do. It makes a big difference when you get the sample wet. You can see that it's significantly darker, which is what your pool is going to look like, obviously, because it's underwater.
And I've found that you really need to actually see this in a pool, because the deeper the pool is, the deeper blue this Tahoe blue becomes.
That's true. That's true. The deeper your pool is, the more watercolor you're going to get from it.
Now,
Yes.
you have another product here that you've developed just recently, right?
This is a brand new product. It's called Pebble Sheen. And what it is, it's basically the same finish as a PebbleTech finish, except it's a smaller pebble in there. And what we do is we go in the day after we do the pebble, and we do a light buffing to it to give it a nice even texture to it.
And
Has a little bit of a different look to it also than PebbleTech.
If we wet this one, you can see it's really going to
Right,
come out
it's significantly darker there
Nice
also,
dark
yeah.
blue
It's a
look.
very pretty deep color.
And you have a lot of different colors.
Comes
for
in a
that.
wide variety of colors also, as well as PebbleTech.
Now, how is PebbleTech applied?
PebbleTech is applied basically like plaster is applied. It's shot onto the pool with a plaster gun, and then what they do is when you first look at it, it looks like a cement finish, and they go in and apply a fine mist of water to expose the pebble, and then they continue troweling and compacting to get the right compaction for the PebbleTech finish.
And then they do an acid wash?
The day after they finish the pebble, they go in and do an acid wash just to clean it up and make it look nice and even and pretty.
And then we can fill the pool up and start it right up?
Yep, start it right up.
Well, we really
ready to go.
appreciate you coming out and telling us about your product.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay tuned for more Step Outside. When we return, we'll talk about safety features you need to consider when building a swimming pool. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Step Outside. Well, we're pretty excited about our pool project. Things are winding down, and it won't be too long before our homeowners can enjoy a swim. But before you fill a pool with water, you have to be concerned about some safety issues. Obviously, we have a perimeter wall here that surrounds the property and keeps the neighbors' kids from getting into our pool. But we've got to be able to get into the yard ourselves, so we have a gate here. Now, this gate has to be able to do a few things for safety. One, it has an automatic self-closer. So when you open it, it'll automatically shut behind you. And this knob isn't unusually high because somebody made a mistake. It has to be 54 inches above the ground. That's so some little kid can't reach up here and open the gate. That was an alarm that I just shut off on the sliding glass door. We've secured the rest of the yard with our perimeter wall and gates, but we have to make sure that the little kids can't get from inside the house out into the pool without you knowing about it. So that alarm does the trick. One other thing you can do with a sliding glass door is put a self-closer and a self-latching lock up here too. It's a much better solution in a tiny backyard than putting a wrought iron fence between the house and the pool. Pools are a lot of fun, but with that fun comes responsibility. Well, I'm glad you could join us for today's show, and I hope you'll be with us when we come back to see the completed play pool and backyard entertainment area on a future episode of Step Outside. We'll be adding some finishing touches to the project by selecting plants and lights for around the backyard, and we'll look at some outdoor furniture. Each week on Step Outside, we show you some of the endless possibilities that await you just beyond your door. So come on, step outside and enjoy the view. I'm Pete Curé. See you next time.